Love thy neighbor. It's something that we've all heard our entire lives. But for me, I heard it constantly. The reason is because I grew up in an extremely conservative, extremely immersive Christian religion. We believed that we kind of cornered the market on that idea of loving your neighbor. One of the reasons that we believed that was because we spent all of our time studying the Bible. And when I say all of our time, I mean all of our time. So we went to services on Sunday, as well as Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. We spent multiple hours in the evenings doing in-depth personal Bible study, and then family Bible study. And then in our free time, on weekends and in evenings after school, we spent going door to door, taking that message to our neighbors. So that was the reason that we thought we were showing love to our neighbors, because we were trying to convert them. The second reason that we thought that we were the epitome of that ideology was because we did not believe in any kind of earthly government. We pledged full allegiance to God's kingdom in heaven. So we didn't believe there should be any territories or boundaries or countries. We didn't take part in voting, no political parties. We didn't even salute the flag. That part of it meant that we thought all races and cultures and nationalities were equal. So that part isn't a bad thing. So that was the second reason we thought we knew exactly what it meant to love other people perfectly. But it was a very contrived love. It was built in a way so that we were to be nice and friendly and outgoing. And if people needed help, we absolutely would help them. But it was to entice them to want to become one of us. There was another side of that love. The side that meant if you were really going to be loving, you had to stand up, speak out a bit against the things that were wrong and bad. Guess what was at the top of that list? So we talked about things that were sins in the Bible. There was drunkenness and adultery, but somehow homosexuality won out as the worst sin of all. We were taught how that was just the epitome of moral corruption. Now, in addition to hearing those words, we were also at the same time taught that you could choose not to be gay. You could pray it away. There were stories of people that left it behind. I remember growing up and sitting and hearing so many times the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. If you don't know what that is, it's a story in the Bible about two cities. They were sister cities next to each other, and those were the names, Sodom and Gomorrah. And God himself brought down fire and sulfur and obliterated nearly every single occupant in a violent and painful way. Why? Because most of them were filled with gay men. It villainized homosexuality. I wish I could stand here today and I could tell you that when I was a little kid and a young teenager, I had doubts and wonders, and it made me feel uncomfortable. But the truth is, I was a really good kid. I obeyed all the rules. I never got in trouble. I did everything I was told that I should do. And that meant not only did I do everything I was supposed to do, I believed everything that I was taught. But then life happened. And I was out on my own, and I was living in an apartment for the first time, and I was in the workforce, working full-time. Now, previous to that, when you're a kid and you're in school and you're not allowed to go to prom or be a part of sports or be in choir or have any extracurricular activity that meant that you were going to spend too much time with anyone that was not in your religion, that was a little bit easier because you're in your parents' house and they're keeping track of you. And that's exactly what happened. I, again, followed all the rules, and I never spent any extra time with people that I shouldn't. All of my friends and relationships, 100% were with people in that religion. But here I am, early 20s, living on my own, going to work every day. What they don't warn you about is what happens when you go to work every day. You're sitting in an office with people, the same people, day in and day out, and you tell yourself, view them as workmates, they're acquaintances, don't let them be your friend. But then you start chit-chatting, and chit-chatting leads to conversation. Conversation leads to deeper conversation. And deeper conversation leads to bonds. And bonds lead to friendships. And the next thing I knew, I was viewing these people as people. Previously, because I had been raised to truly embrace and respect people from other nations, nationalities, and cultures, I was surrounded by people of different colors and different backgrounds, but this was the first time in my life I was surrounded by people from different religions, or from no religion at all. And I realized they were good and kind and decent. They were human beings. Just as I accidentally started thinking for myself and wondering, is that okay, the way I was raised? Is that really the truth? Along came Keith. Oh, beautiful, sweet, kind, attentive Keith. And I thought, Johanna, don't be his friend. You can't be his friend, just keep it professional, be nice. But something about his personality and my personality just kind of clicked. And I thought, I gotta be this guy's friend. Yeah, he's great. And this voice kept saying, no, be careful. And the reason I was extra doubtful about Keith is because Keith was openly gay. And he talked about his husband in the most kind and loving manner, the same way that anyone else would have talked about their spouse. And I thought, this is dangerous. Shouldn't be doing this. But I did. And we kept talking and we kept spending time together. And then one night I found myself at dinner with him and with his husband. And as I felt uncomfortable as they showed affection to one another, at the same time I thought to myself, how can a relationship that's supposed to be wrong be more kind and loving and honest than any relationship I had ever been in up to that point in my life? And I left and I felt conflicted. But I also realized maybe I had been wrong for a very long time. More importantly, I realized I had a lot of work to do. And I got to work. It was difficult work to read and watch and learn things completely on my own. It's embarrassing to not have anybody to tell these things to and to be left on your own trying to figure out what's the right thing to think and say and do. So I worked especially hard to get to know other people. I read and I watched things. I remember specifically learning about Matthew Shepard and Alan Turing and being devastated over their life stories, being horrified at what people like me had done to people like them. I wish I could say that it was a snap of my fingers and overnight I was an ally. I wish I could say that. But let me be honest, it takes a lot of work. Even years after I left that religion, which, surprise, if you didn't guess, I left that religion. quite some time ago. It took me years to get to where I am today. The reason for it is very, very simple. When you live your life truly thinking that you are a good, kind, loving person, it is extremely difficult to face the reality that you had been living a life of passive hatred, to accept that fact, that you had all this arrogance wrapped up and disguised as godliness. You've been standing on the Bible to look down at other people. It's humiliating. I went through a terrible time. I felt a lot of sadness, humiliation, and anger at myself. But I worked really hard on weeding things out of my heart, continuing to get to know people. Most importantly, having those kind of honest conversations with my beautiful Keith and with other people. Now, there are a couple of reasons that I'm here tonight. One of them is to tell you that I did come from a very messed up background when it comes to religion, but it gave me some really good tools. It taught me it's okay to be a little bit of an outcast in society, to be the odd one out, doing things that maybe other people don't do. It also taught me that when you believe in something, you be zealous and you be bold. Have no qualms about having those difficult conversations. If somebody who's a perfect stranger needs to be talked to about something that's uncomfortable, be the person that if you believe in it, go ahead and speak up. I also had that foundation of believing that all races and nationalities should be viewed as equal. All I had to do is build on it a little bit. I had to push those doors open a little bit wider and make sure that it meant you embraced and viewed all humankind as equal. Hard stop. And I got there. It was difficult, but I got there. And I wanted there to be no doubt ever going forward about where I stood. To not be afraid to let the world know that I do stand as an ally, that I do support this community, and that there's nothing ever in the world that I would ever do to turn my back on it. I want there to always be no doubt that I would be the person that will stand up and support those who need it. Along with that, the second main reason that I'm here tonight is to be a little bit of hope to other people. Just by the sheer numbers, I'm completely confident that unfortunately, there are people here tonight who have people in their life that are the old version of me. There are people here, I'm sure, that are not receiving the love that they should be from the people that are important in their life. But I want you to know to never give up hope on the fact that one day they will figure it out. They will humble themselves, they will apologize, and they will one day be the biggest ally you have. It might be unimaginable now, but don't give up hope on it. Because if I got here, absolutely anyone can get here. If I got here, the person who went from not knowing or thinking I didn't know anyone that was gay to having some of my closest friends be a part of this fantastic community. If I got here, the person who was uncomfortable when I saw two men show each other affection, to learning what it really means to love another human being unconditionally from them. If I got here, anyone can get here. So please don't give up hope on those people. But in the meantime, never change who you are or who you love for anybody. Thank you so much for having me tonight.